Welcome to the Songwriter Connection, the podcast that delves deep into the art and heart of songwriting. Each week, we gather around the dining room table to uncover the stories behind the songs. We invite you to join us on a journey through the creative minds of the songwriters who shape the melodies of our lives. From Nashville, Tennessee, here's your host, Dave Lenahan.
What a treat we have for you today around the dining room table. I've been wanting to have our guest on for quite some time. She checks all the boxes. Let me tell you, singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, plays the guitar. She writes, we're going to get into the songwriting part for sure, but she's really known for playing that harmonica. Oh my goodness, can she play? And I first met her 2 years ago doing a writer's round at the old Copper Branch, which is a vegan restaurant downtown. They were doing songwriter rounds. So I come in one night just as our guest was getting off the stage, and everybody was just blown away. At the time, she was 14 years old. So I invited her into my round. And she just shredded and just took us to a whole new level. I've been a fan ever since, even before that, really. It's Kiersi Joli. How are you, Kiersi?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Really good. You know, you just shred on that. And I don't want to talk about the meaning of shred right now. When we say shred, you know what we're talking about? Mostly, you hear it a lot with guitar players that just shred. Virtuoso, chops up and down fast usually, lots of improvisation, but you know what? All in key. It's just, when we say shred, that means they are top of the game.
Yeah. And
shredding is really something you can even do when you're playing on the harmonica, can't you? You can shred. I'm going to give you a little example. This was at the Analog
this
room.
Is from there? Okay.
Yeah. A pitch night at the Sutton Hotel.
Yeah.
Let's listen to Kiersi shred here. The ending of this great song. Ready? Here we go. Everybody on the stage, their mouths are just like, what? Where does she come from? You're amazing, girl.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming to be on the show.
Yes, thank you for having me.
You're going to be on TV tomorrow as we tape this, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I am performing on Today in Nashville,
Nice.
Channel 4. I am their closing song for the segment.
Well, what an honor. That's great.
Yes, I'm very excited. I've got a great group of guys coming to join me and playing with me there as well.
You bringing a band in with you?
I am, yeah.
That's killer. So do you have a regular band that you play with?
I fiddle around with a couple of guys who I know. This band that I'm with, I have my Hohner A&R guy, Jesse. He's playing bass, and then he recommended a great group of guys to me as well for drums and guitar and keys.
Yeah.
And so we had our rehearsal last night, and I am so excited for this. It's going to turn out amazing.
Oh, well, I'm going to set my DVR so I don't miss that, okay?
Yeah.
And that'll be on Good Friday.
Yes.
We're taping around Easter. If you're listening on the day it came out, this is episode 211, and it's early June, and we hope that you're enjoying the spring, almost summer. Kiersi, you've been playing this instrument since the age of, 6?
Yeah.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. And you were just drawn to it immediately? Tell me the story.
Okay, so the story behind it is I had no clue what the harmonica was.
No?
I had heard it every now and then in a couple of my songs my parents would listen to, but I didn't know what the instrument looked like or anything. And one year for Christmas when I was 6, I had gotten this little set of harmonicas.
Cool.
And I had no clue. I asked my mom, I was like, what is it? And she looks at me and she's like, well, it's a harmonica. You blow or draw air to make sound.
Yeah.
And I had played it and I was hooked.
Really? Fell in love right away, huh?
Yes. It was from that first moment that I knew I wanted to play harmonica for the rest of my life, whether it was just for fun or whether I was doing it professionally. I knew I was going to be playing it forever.
You knew it, huh? Mm-hmm. And of course, by age 9, 3 years later, Hohner, a fantastic maker of harmonicas,
yes,
they sponsored you, and you're a spokesperson for them.
Yes, at the age of 9, Hohner had approached me and asked if I would like to be an endorser for Hohner. And of course, I didn't know exactly what that meant because I was 9. Uh-huh. But I said yes, and I play all Hohner harmonicas.
You do? Of course.
I love their sound. I love the way they're built. I love the people who work there in general.
You? Yeah.
And I am so glad that I did because I love Hohner so much.
Great. And you said you have a Hohner A&R person? Can you explain what that is?
It's kind of hard to explain. I really don't know how to explain it very well.
Mom, you can chime in. Your mom Tina's here and your dad Mike is here. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having us as well.
Yeah.
So basically,
you can lean into that just a little bit. That'd be cool. Yeah, thank you.
The artist and relations manager, he oversees the endorsed artists that represent Hohner harmonicas because Hohner is a part of KHS America. So
KHS now?
KHS
means...
I'm not sure exactly what it stands for, but they're out by Lebanon.
Okay.
And so they make a multitude of instruments, basically.
Okay.
But Hohner is the brand that does the harmonicas. So they have an artist and relations manager, and they oversee their endorsed artists and make sure they're taken care of. And so, for example, if Kiersi has a harmonica that she needs a special tune for a certain song that she wrote, she can contact her A&R guy and say, hey, I need this harmonica specially tuned, and they will hook her up with their tech guy and get her squared away.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't know if you know, but Steven Tyler is a Hohner artist as
is
well.
He?
Yes.
Yep.
So
how about that?
Not too long ago, they put together a whole new set of harmonicas and sent them off to Steven.
Wow.
As is Heidi Newfield and
Heidi.
a lot of we love Heidi as well. But anyway, so we have developed a very close family-like relationship with multiple people in the Hohner brand. Because Kiersi basically has grown up with them. And so with that being said, a lot of people carry more than one hat, and it's the same for the Hohner artist and relations manager.
Gotcha. Yep.
He is also a professional bass player, and he's in a professional band. And so as Kiersi's talent continued to progress, and having more opportunities, she started just recently, hey, I need a bass player, and I really like, what you're doing. Because we've gone to some of his shows in his band, and they're all incredible. But anyway, he's quite the character, and he makes everything fun. Wow. He's just one of those, you can see him in elementary school, high school, being the class clown, and he's still the class clown, but it makes for a very good dynamic.
That's
and so he has jumped on board with Kiersi on some of her gigs, and you just never know where things will go with musicians and artists, but Kiersi seems to want to keep him on board forever. So as long as he's willing, I think she's going to keep taking him up on his offer.
Of course, yeah.
That's great. And so now you just turned 17.
I did, yeah, this past November.
So you're talking about college already and graduating from high school?
Yes, I graduate high school in May 24th, I believe. And I'm looking at Belmont. Belmont is my top choice of school.
It would be mine too. If I had to do it all over again. What is school, Belmont?
Yeah. I auditioned to get into the commercial music.
Good.
And I found out a couple days later that I had been accepted.
That's great.
So now we're just working out all the kinks, finding a roommate, doing all that stuff. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a great place to challenge myself and to learn so much more.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. I'm happy for you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I want to go back to you, Tina, if I could.
Yeah.
So she's 6 years old. She gets these harmonicas. Did you right away notice that there was a talent there to develop?
I did. So Kiersi didn't mention, but she had asked to start piano lessons at age 3.
So was that her?
Yes.
What took you so long? 3 years old? Are you kidding me?
And her sister, who's 2 years older than her, had been asking for a guitar. And so I compromised and I said, you both start with piano and then show me you're going to stay with it, and then we'll talk beyond that.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to a lady at our church about getting them started in piano lessons, and she said, well, I can do lessons for Kari, but Kiersi's really too young. I really don't start them until about age 5. Their little fingers just can't press the keys down and stretch. And I said, well, Kiersi's the main reason why I'm calling. She's the one asking for piano lessons. She said, well, we'll give it a try.
Yeah?
So we took both of them over there. And after that first lesson, she said, she'll be fine. We can do lessons.
Wow.
And I said, okay. Well, it didn't take long for Kiersi to surpass her sister at the piano lessons. She had a good natural ear and just kind of picked up on things a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And had the drive for sure as far as practicing at home. But when she got that set of harmonicas on Christmas morning, her sister also got her guitar that she had been wanting. And so we had someone from church lined up to give her guitar lessons. Well, there was nobody to give harmonica lessons.
Where do you go for harmonica lessons?
She kept trying to learn to play on her own, but frustrated, when am I going to get harmonica lessons? So I went on the search and I found through friend of a friend of a friend, someone about an hour away from us who dabbled in playing harmonica, but he really was just a guitar teacher and a junior high music teacher. Okay. And so he said, I can try showing her some basics. So we started with that. And he said, some people never get it. And it's difficult to play single notes.
I never got it.
And he said, I'm not trying to discourage you. I'm just giving you the reality. So he said, if it doesn't happen, it's pretty common. And I said, that's fine. I didn't expect it to go this far in the first place. So we went home.
Little did you know.
She ended up going in her room to practice what he taught her. And I was like, what time is it? We've got to get dinner started. And I was like, oh my gosh, Kiersi, you've been in here for an hour practicing. Like I said, 15 minutes. We need to go do other stuff. You still have piano. And piano ended up sloughing off.
Yeah.
But she would spend hours on the harmonica. And so in 2 weeks' time, I called him back and I said, I think she's ready for another lesson. He said, what? I said, well, I don't know because I don't know what I'm supposed to be hearing. But from what I hear, I think she's ready. Wow. Well, I have an opening in 2 weeks. So that would have put us a month out from the first lesson. And we took her in and he said, well, let's hear what you've been working on. She played every single note going up and then back down the harmonica. And he's like, how did you learn to do that? And so quick, she's 6. She's like, oh. And so he said, well, how about we start working on this first song in the book that I gave you? She said, oh, I've already played it. And it was Mary Had a Little Lamb. He said, well, let's hear it. So she played it and he goes, all right, well, let's work on this next song. She said, I played that too.
Oh, man.
And it was Twinkle, Twinkle. So at that second lesson, he said, how about I give you a song that's not in this book? So he played it for her, and he said, it's the tune to Little Liza Jane, but I put my own church lyrics to it, but I'll teach it to you. And so he tabbed it out for her in the back of the book, which we still have that book.
Oh, that's good.
And went through it and played it for her, showed her how to play it. And we went back a month later, worked on some timing issues, and then he taught her the lyrics to the song. And so he said, my little bluegrass band is playing out here. If Kiersi wants to come and play her song.
Yeah.
And it's in a month in May. And I said, Kiersi? And she goes, I'd love to. So that was really her first performance and her first one with a full band. And she had it all worked out in May to where she would play it and then sing the lyrics and then play it really fast to show off. So after that, I pretty much knew there was something more to the, just an instrument, which was surprising because I was honestly just going to get her a tambourine because I knew I couldn't give her sister a guitar without her getting something. And the tambourine was like $13. But I found this cheap set of harmonicas at Best Buy and they were $22. And I said, well, hot dog, if she loses one, there's others in the... And that's the only reason why I went with the harmonica.
They're all for different keys, right? Yeah.
Yep.
If you don't play harmonica, if you're not played it, it really... People think, well, it's easy, just blow on it or you suck on it, right? But there's a lot to it. There's bending the notes, which is something I never was able to master.
Yeah.
How old were you when you first learned how to bend a note? And you can bend it blowing in and...
You can
Blowing
bend a note. Blowing out is technically like a blow bend, and then when you're breathing in, it's a regular bend. I don't know exactly. I was probably around 7 or 8.
Really?
When I first learned bending, I was fortunate enough to find an organization called SPA, the Society for Preserving and Advancing the Harmonica.
Wow.
And through that organization, I had found my first harmonica teacher, Sandy Weltman. Sandy is the one who introduced me to the blues, introduced me to so many other great songs, and
she is really big in the blues area right now, folks, really. And has really made a name for herself. In fact, if you go to her Facebook page, there's a picture of her and Bonnie Raitt together.
Yes, that was a highlight.
Was that a highlight?
That was the biggest moment of my life so far. That happened last November. She had gifted me tickets to her concert at the Opry. Wow. I was so excited because it was right around my birthday, too.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, happy birthday to me.
Really? Yeah.
But yeah, I got to go, and to see her perform is incredible. Like, to hear it over just like playing it off of YouTube or Spotify, whatever, it's one thing. But when you see her live, it just changes your perspective on everything you think. Not only to hear her sing and hear the songs that she writes, but also to hear her play. Like, she's phenomenal on guitar as well, and her she's just an all-around amazing artist, and she's one of the biggest inspirations in my whole career.
Really?
Yes, she has been probably the biggest inspiration to me throughout this whole musical journey that I've had. And so being able to meet her, it was a really, really big moment for me, and I was just awestruck. There's a photo on my Instagram, and if you look at it, you can just tell how beet red my face is from the pure joy I am feeling in that moment. And just thinking about it now, like, it brings all that joy and everything back up as well.
That's awesome. Meeting your heroes got to be, it's like a dream come true.
Dream come true for sure, yes.
That's fantastic. You had an incredible year last year, 2024, didn't you?
I did. Last year was quite an amazing year. I got to travel a lot more than I ever really expected. And I love performing. Performing is my passion when it comes to music.
You're so good on the stage.
Love to be on the stage. I love to be playing for people. And I've said it once in an interview a long time ago, but when I play on stage, I make a connection with my audience. My song, my playing, my expressions make that connection. And I love to feel what they're feeling. And you just kind of feedback off of it.
Yeah, you feed off that energy, don't you?
Yeah, and it brings a lightness to your playing and your experience on the stage as well.
Wonderful. I'm wondering, we talked about bending notes and stuff. Do you got a harmonica handy there?
I do, yeah.
I wonder if you can kind of demonstrate that for folks. if you're not familiar with what we mean by bending on a
Yeah.
harmonica.
So a draw bend, most of the time you have one bend, depending on the hole you are on, to take yourself down to the next note. So for instance, if I'm playing a 2 draw, and I need to have a way to get lower, you're gonna bend, which it's all about tongue positioning.
Is it really? It's on the tongue?
It's a lot of tongue positioning when you're bending a note. So you're going from 2 draw, and 2 draw has 2 bends that you can do. You can do a half step.
Now, when you say 2 draw, I'm sorry, when you say 2, what are you talking about, the second note?
Yes, the second note on the harmonica.
Okay.
Most of the time when you get a harmonica, they'll be marked holes 1 through 10. And so like the low side, that's 1, and then 10.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're talking about 2 hole.
Yes,
Okay.
the 2 hole.
I got it.
You'll breathe in, and your tongue slides down a little bit for the half step. And so then if you need it to go a whole step, which if you think a whole step would be like your 5 chord in a song. So when it goes to the 5, you'd go.
Wow.
So yeah.
And that's kind of tricky to learn, isn't it?
It is.
Was it frustrating at first?
It was a little bit. I had some trouble, especially with like the notes, like the 2 draw or the 3 draw, whereas the 3 draw has 3 notes you can bend. You have half step, whole step, and double whole step.
Wow. Didn't know that.
You have to get your tongue precisely in the right area, or your bending is sharp or flat, and you have to get it super precise. And it took me a lot of time to learn that control.
A lot of hours of practice, huh?
Yes, and my sister will attest to those many hours of practice.
You and your sister pretty close?
Yeah, me and my sister, I'm the youngest of 6 in my family.
Are you? 6? Wow.
And so most of my siblings were off at college. And so me and my older sister, Kari, really grew really close in that time, especially bonding over music and everything.
Yeah.
We don't always have the same musical opinions about everything, but we like to feed off each other. Kari will come to me singing a song, and she'll go like, "Hey, I wrote this song. What do you think about it?" And I'm like, "This is great. This is awesome." And then I'll go to her and I'll play harmonica. She's like, "Oh, that sounded really good." Wow. So it's just a really nice experience to have that back and forth communication.
That's good.
To grow with each other. So yeah.
Since this is a songwriter podcast, tell me about when you first started writing songs, and how did the harmonica fit in?
The first song I ever wrote was the year we decided to move.
You know, I read this story, and it's incredible. I was hoping you'd share it. Yep.
So we decided that we were going to be moving to Tennessee from a small town in Missouri. In 2019 is when we had moved. And I had a lot of mixed feelings about moving. I was around 11, and I loved the idea of moving for my music, but I didn't know how I felt about leaving my friends, leaving a bunch of my family who lived in Missouri.
That's hard.
And so my mom told me, she was like, "Well, just take those feelings and write a song." And I was like, "Okay, how do I do that?" It just took some time sitting with myself and thinking about what I was feeling and putting it into words and writing those words on a page. And so I had finally written the song. I showed it to my mom. She was like, "Kiersi, this is really good." And I was like, "Thank you. I just did what you told me." And so it got to the point where I had my harmonica teacher, Sandy Weltman. He recorded it for me, and he did the production and everything. And we did it in his basement, too. So we would go to his house. We went in the basement. He had all the microphones set up, and I recorded it, and we put it out there. right as we were moving, and it really helped to settle those feelings that I was having and to reaffirm the good work that God was doing in our lives, helping us to move to Tennessee.
That's wonderful. So you still have that recording?
I do, and it's out there. You
don't
can
like it, though,
listen to it. Well, I was 9 years old at the time, so I'm like
You've grown
singing
a lot
in
as
this
an
little
artist since
girl
then.
voice, and
Yeah.
it's just it's hard to listen to. I'll just say that.
I bet. For you, yeah.
Yeah.
For you. We would love it. I'm sure. But you've got your guitar today, and
do, yes.
is this your resonator guitar? What did you have?
Yes, this is my Mule Modest Mavis resonator guitar.
Wow.
Yes.
You've always been into the blues?
It's interesting because I had never really listened to the blues before I started harmonica. Mm-hmm. And like I said, my harmonica teacher first introduced me to the blues. But most of the time, like, my parents just listened to like classic rock, country, Christian songs, and then I grew up loving country. Mm-hmm. Carrie Underwood is another one of my inspirations. Wow. And it was so cool because there was one point where she had started playing harmonica, and she would post videos of her at her shows playing harmonica. And I was like, this is so cool. I'm going to be like Carrie Underwood.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really had no clue just what the blues was. And learning more about it now, knowing that it is the root of all music, has really helped me grow in all aspects of learning how to write a song, and, kind of blending the genres and not making it just one pure genre, but taking it and making it my own.
This is what we preach on this show. I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mix them all and you come up with your in the key of Kiersi, right? We'll get into that. Can you play us a little bit before we take a break?
I can, yes.
I'd love to hear one of your songs.
Yeah.
And you've got a rack. That's what you connect the harmonica to.
I might have to take my headphones off for
that.
this,
Probably, yeah. We used to do it we didn't have racks when we were a kid. My brother and I, we would just get coat hangers and we would force them into the harmonica. So we could do Dylan and, but we couldn't bend notes or anything. We never learned how to do that. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I had never heard
Now, you know what I do with my rack
doing
now?
That. What?
I put a kazoo in there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I think I've seen you do that once. No?
No. I'm just kidding. But it wouldn't be a bad idea.
I think I've seen someone do that.
I think Eric Noden.
Maybe. Yes.
There's an idea. There you go.
All right. Let's see. I will do...
To Bad Side.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bad Side?
I wrote this song a while ago. Not too long ago, actually. But I wrote this with two good friends of mine, Michael Soletta and Nancy DeCant. And
I love both of those. They're good friends of mine.
Yes, they're awesome.
Nancy DeCant has been on the show many times. So has Michael.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
my good Aussie buddy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm so glad to have him. He's one of my main co-writers that I write with. And
really?
I just love him so much. Plus, he brings, the best dad jokes into the right, too. So you just have a bunch of fun with him.
I love it.
And I'm like, Dad, you need to take notes from Michael.
That's a special kind of rack there, too. Is that like on that thing, was it it's not like a clamp on it. Is it a magnet?
It's a magnet, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like most about these kind of racks. It's so easy to just pull it off and pull it on, rather than with some of the clip-ons where you have to unscrew it and pull it down.
Yep.
But it just makes it simpler for me. Yeah.
Cool.
But I'll play this song for you. This is called Bad Side. And I wrote it, and I came down. I had an idea for it, and I came downstairs, and I was like, Mom, I have this song idea. And I brought it to her, and she was like, oh, that's really good. And I came out of the writing room, and I sang it to her. She was like, do you even have a bad side? I'm like, well, I do now. But this is how it goes. I've been standing here for an hour now. Just another time you've let me down. If you know what's good for you, you don't want to see my bad side. If you know what's good for you, get back. You don't want to see my bad side. If you know what's good for you, you don't want to see my bad side. If you know what's good for you, you don't want to see my bad side.
I think we're seeing it already. Bad being a good thing. Bad. Let me tell you, that was awesome.
Thank you.
Beautiful. We're going to take a little break. Back with Kiersi Joli on the Songwriter Connection podcast.
You're listening to the Songwriter Connection with Dave Linehan. Find us on Facebook and YouTube at the Songwriter Connection podcast. And find Dave at thedaveconnection.com. Now back to the show with your host, Dave Linehan.
The part where I give you the brief commercial. If you're watching on YouTube, we're there. Even though it's not a video podcast, please like and subscribe. By the way, occasionally, like one time we had Brooklyn Summer over here. My friend, documentary filmmaker Martin Buchanan, who does my music videos, was here, and he said, "Can we shoot it and put it on YouTube?" And we did. So there is one video of the Songwriter Connection out there. But we are attempting to do this show live, and we're going to do it at the local on Friday, June 13th, with big hit writer Chris Wallen, who wrote "Don't Blink" and lots of other great songs. So we're going to attempt to do it live at the local, 5 to 6 on Friday the 13th, and then the following Wednesday we'll release it as an audio podcast like we normally do. We're out there every single Wednesday making a new connection. Today our connection is Kiersi Joli, and you may know, in the key of Kiersi. That's what we call this, because that's kind of your handle, in the key of Kiersi.
Yeah.
And you said there's a story behind that.
There is. It's a great story. Kiersi was 6, and she turned 6 in November. So that month later, in December, she got the harmonicas. Mm-hmm. Well, she started the harmonica lesson in March. And then by May, she had her first performance, right? So by the time those summer festivals came about, I entered Kiersi into the festival contest.
Nice.
And she ended up winning first place or overall in all of them, with using her winning monies and getting upgraded harmonicas.
Nice.
The instructor that we had found, he said, "Tina, she really needs a professional harmonica teacher. She's doing things that people have been trying to do for over a year or whatever, and she's mastered them." He's like, "She's beyond my level." And I thought, oh, good grief, where am I going to find that? I barely found you. So I started looking on the internet for a harmonica teacher in the state of Missouri. That was my search engine.
Yeah.
And I found what Kiersi had touched on, SPA, the Society for Preserving and Advancing the Harmonica. And, just because I find something doesn't mean it's like legit or real. So I really did some investigating into the organization, and it was really legit that they were really playing out their mission, which was to preserve and advance the harmonica, because people were seeing it as a dying instrument.
Oh, boy.
And so that was their mission.
It's essential today in rock
Right.
and blues and even in country.
Look at Charlie McCoy. He's made a huge success out of it.
Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Buddy Green and many others. So anyway, I said, okay, let me look further, because I don't want to pay for a membership that I'm just going to get a monthly magazine. Like, what are we going to get out of it?
Right.
So I looked into it, and I went to Mike and I said, they're having an annual convention this coming week. And it happens to be in St. Louis.
Oh,
There's
wow.
no way this is just happening.
Yeah, it was meant to be, huh?
Right. And so anyway, I told him, I said, they have daily, because he was like, there's no way we can afford it. I got to work. You got to work. I said, they have daily rates. We can take her one day. And I said, and I just have to pay for her. I'm her chaperone. I don't have to pay for me. And he's like, well, I guess if you can get off work. So I made it happen. And we went, and Kiersi and I, he dropped us off, and we walked in, and there was literally harmonicas that we did not know existed.
Yeah.
They were about 2 feet long. Some of them were 3
Whoa.
layered. Some of them were bass harmonicas. And of course we knew of the chromatic with the button on the side, but we were just kind of flabbergasted. The entire hotel and lobby and elevators and escalators were filled with harmonica players of all kinds, just walking around playing.
You were in heaven, weren't you?
Yes.
She's like,
yeah.
Mom, I found my people.
Found your people.
Because her sister was constantly complaining about it. So anyway, we just kind of sat down somewhere in the lobby and kind of taking it all in. And so anyway, we heard a little thump on the mic and said, open mic is now open if anybody wants to come up and play. And Kiersi tugs on my shirt and says, can I go up and play? And I'm like,
And you're like, what, 8, 9 years old?
Six. Yes.
6 years old?
yes. And I said, I don't know. We're not members. We're kind of loitering at this point. So I said, I guess nobody else is going up there. Go ahead. So she just walked on up there and got up on stage, and somebody saw her, so they lowered the mic for her. And she did her little Liza Jane tune that she'd been doing at the festivals all summer. And, you know, I've heard it a gazillion times. So I'm sitting there and looking around. Everybody in the lobby and the hallway down from the just froze, and jaws were open.
Wow.
And Kiersi just did her thing, and then when she was done, grinning ear to ear, stepped down, came and sat by me, and all of a sudden we were swarmed by everybody. Like, no way, she's only 6 years old. She's only been playing for 6 months, and they wrote an article about a prodigy from Bowling Green, Missouri. And needless to say, we became members.
Yep.
And we ended up going back one other time, and before that week was out. And when we went back, there was this group of older gentlemen playing guitar and singing and doing harmonica on rack. And she's like, can I go play with them? And I said, I guess, but you better ask first. So she walked up and whispered in the guy's ear, who was not singing at the time. And she's like, can I sit in with you guys? And he said, just a moment. So they finished the song they were doing. And he introduced himself and he said, what is your name? And she said, Kiersi. And he's like, so you play harmonica? And she said, yeah, I was going to see if I could play with you guys. And he said, well, what song would you like to play? And she goes, do you know Red River Valley? And he goes, do you know Red River Valley? And she nodded yes. And he said, all right, well, what key are you in? And she goes, huh? And he goes, what key are you in? And she goes, shrugged her shoulders and said, Kiersi? So that's where I came up with her handle, in the key of Kiersi.
In the key of Kiersi. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a great handle. It really is.
It was a long story, but
but worth it.
yeah.
Kiersi, you have this contraption, and I know there's a name for it. Dynamite?
Dynamite,
Is that what it is? And that was created especially for you, or you just like, tell me about that, what that is.
So, Dynamite was created in Australia. The maker of them is from Australia, and it's a product he made to sell and everything. And he came over one year to Spa, Mitch Granger, and he was advertising his product. And I happened to be walking by the room that he was giving examples of how to use his microphone. And I literally stopped in my tracks. I backed up and I looked in the door and I was like, this sounds amazing. Like, what is this? And so I went to I went in the room and I was like, hey, can I try it? And so I tried it out and I loved it. And so I ran to my mom. I was like, Mom, you have to hear this harmonica. And they were getting ready to close down their little booth that they had in the room that they had set up. And I ran in with my mom. I was like, listen to this. And so I played it. She was like, oh, wow, that sounds really good. And
now it's like a microphone built in, and it clips into like a mic thing. How does it work? It's a neat looking thing. I've seen you play it.
Yeah.
I'm going to interject real quick. So prior to this microphone for the harmonica, there are custom microphones out there, but they are rounded.
Yeah.
And a lot of the old blues harmonica players are so used to these rounded handheld microphones that they've learned to just hold the harmonica directly in front of the microphone and cup it with the other hand and still get some of these effects and whatever. But her little tiny hands at 10, 11 years old, however she was.
Yeah, you couldn't hold them both, huh?
Couldn't grip it enough to hold it well enough to be able to play it comfortably. So when she found this and came and told me about it, I was like, yeah, another custom harmonica. You can't play it. So go ahead.
So I brought her to it, and I had played it for her. She goes, "Oh, wow, that actually sounds really cool."
It does, too.
And so we had started talking to Mitch Granger, and he was like, "You know what? Would you like to be an endorser for my microphone?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Yes, please."
Where do I
heard her play.
Wow.
Yeah,
See.
and
wow.
So I was their first endorser with the company, and I love their microphone because, one, it's super easy. It plugs in like a guitar. You just need one cable. It can plug into a DI or a PA or a direct into an amp.
And you're plugged in. Yeah.
And you're plugged in and you're ready to go.
Yep.
It has an on and off switch, so you can move your harmonica without it getting like feedback or like them hearing the clank of it coming back in. They have a distortion, like an overdrive switch to get some overdrive for it.
Nice.
And then they have a volume knob where you can control your volume.
And you can control it all in the, as you're playing on the stage.
Yeah. And the greatest thing about it for me is when I started learning guitar, you couldn't hear the harmonica when it was on just like a regular rack like I have one right now. You couldn't hear the harmonica over the guitar of me playing. And so this microphone, not only can you plug it in, but it has magnets for a harp rack to you can put it on its own harp rack and you can play.
It's great. And you know what? So now you don't have to be you can dance around the stage if you want, right? And add to your show, right?
Yes, that was one of the biggest pros to this microphone that I had found. And it became so handy for my harmonica playing. Like, I just plug in and I'm able to play, and I'll look at my parents every now and then. I'm like, is this loud enough? And they'll be like, turn it up. And I'll be, okay. And so
See, my mom always said, turn it down. Do you have to play that loud?
I gotta say one.
Mike, please do. We haven't talked to you all day. Lean in.
Sometimes we have to remind her to turn it back on.
Yeah, I am kind of forgetful about that.
She'll shut it off to change harps. Check the guitar.
Then forget
Start
to turn
singing
it back
and
on.
forget to turn it on.
I would do that.
Yeah.
But
It happens. I'm getting better about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Now, you play a lot of festivals. You're very active in touring and everything. Memphis, which is for the blues, Memphis. You got to play B.B. King's and up and down Beale Street, didn't you?
I did, yes. This past January, I was the youth representative for the Memphis Blues Society in the IBCs, the International Blues Challenge that was happening.
Cool. Yeah. And
so I got to go down to Memphis, and I got to perform, what was the cafe I was playing at?
Rum Boogie.
Rum Boogie Cafe, and I got to play there. But that whole week, it was so nice. It happened to be like the days after we had that snowstorm.
Oh, yeah.
But luckily, they had learned from the year before when it was ice everywhere.
Yeah.
They had cleared the roads. They had prepared. They put salt and everything. And so I was really able to enjoy a lot of the things that were happening this year.
That's cool.
And so I got to play at B.B. King's with two friends of mine, Piper and Steve Egan, with Al Piper and the Hard Times. And
there's video of this out there.
There is video, yes.
People, you need to go to Kiersi's YouTube page.
Yes. And you can find all these videos on my Instagram or on my YouTube and everything.
You'll see that dynamite in action, Mm-hmm. Dynamite playing a dynamite. Isn't that something? Oh, wow.
Well.
Anyway, I interrupt. But you do that. And another recent performance I wanted to bring up, you got to play at the Ryman, on the stage at the Ryman Auditorium, looking up at the stained glass. How was that? And who'd you play with? How'd that happen?
It was so incredible. So through the organization that I use to record most of my songs that I release, it's an organization called Notes for Notes. And they're based out of California, but they have 5 locations here in Middle Tennessee. And so I've been recording with them since 21, 22.
Well,
And, you know, I was there and they had said, Kiersi, we have an opportunity for a couple of people from Notes for Notes to go to the Ryman and open up for Lauren Daigle with her Christmas show.
wow.
And they were like, do you want to do it? I was like, well, I'm not going to say no. Like, who would say no to that? So I was very fortunate through them, and they're a nonprofit organization.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely incredible because they allow kids under 18 to come into the studio, learn about the instruments, about the recording process.
Cool.
They allow them to record and everything for free. And so it has been one of the greatest helps for me and my family alike, seeing as how most of the time a recording studio costs like $15,000 or
Crazy.
about $15,000. So it was really a very great opportunity and a very heaven sent door
Like
that
Lauren
opened
Daigle.
up for
Oh,
me.
my goodness.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
It was incredible to go see her perform and to hear a twist on Christmas songs in a jazz kind of way.
Yeah.
I was like, this is incredible.
You had some Christmas music out this past year, didn't you?
I did. This past December, or
Mary
I think it was like the
Bluesmas or something?
day after Thanksgiving, I had released my first holiday EP. I have 4 songs on that holiday EP. Merry Bluesmas, Cliche Christmas, Dance Between the Snowflakes, and Happy New Year.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So that was very cool, and that was a great experience to have my first little EP out there and everything, and to have it be a holiday EP as well.
You have other songs out there streaming everywhere, including Spotify.
Yes,
Tell us
I
about
do.
those.
Those songs are Hey There Blues, Took a Man, and...
Took a Man, huh?
Took a Man, yeah.
Song you wrote?
Yes. All the songs that I've released are songs that I've written with co-writers of mine. And then I have a third song out there called I Am Beautiful. And that song is really special because...
It's a beautiful song. I listened to that this morning.
Thank you.
It's a
Yes.
great song.
It's really special because I had gotten approached by Maggie Myers at Michael Soletta's Welcome Home party.
I remember. I was there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she had approached me and she said, I have this short film that I have a script for, and I was wondering if you would be the person to write the song for it.
Ah.
And I was like, yes, I'd love to. And so I went, she had sent me the script and I had read the script, and I got together with Corey Lee Barker, otherwise
Christmas
known
Corey.
as Christmas Corey.
Yeah.
And we got together and we wrote the song I Am Beautiful, and we sent it to her, and she goes, this is perfect. This is just what we were looking for. So I had my guitar teacher, Nikki Hines. He is the one who produced it, and he's the one who recorded it. He also did electric guitar, acoustic guitar, and bass on it as well. And so he recorded it at his home studio, and we had Ricky Free do drums on it. Wow. And I sent it to her with all the mixing and mastering done, and she goes, this is absolutely incredible. And she loved it so much, and she put it in the trailer, which you can see the trailer on my Instagram as well.
Okay. In the Key of Kiersi on Instagram.
Yep, in the Key of Kiersi. And the short film itself is supposed to be releasing this summer.
Congratulations
And it's
on
already been nominated for an award, I heard.
that. Really?
Yes, yeah.
Awesome. That's great.
The short film.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Get your first sync right there.
It is, yes. It's one I'll hold close to my heart forever.
You know, you're just doing so many exciting things. It just keeps building and building and really building a following in the blues community. I saw a video of you recently playing at the Opelika festival, which is a great songwriter festival in Alabama with my friend Larry Mitchell.
Oh,
and
yes,
Larry is
yes.
a Grammy Award winning and one of the best guitar shredders you ever. He is virtuoso, and you were playing along with him, answering back. He jammed, goes, and you.
That's one of my favorite things to do on stage when I have an electric
The answer
guitarist.
backs? Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
to do call and response.
Call and response.
Yes.
Yes.
It's incredible. And like I said, you just feedback off of it. And it hypes up the performance so much. And you're just like all
Absolutely.
excited because you're getting into it.
Yep.
And it's incredible.
Did you see the part of that video where she took him off guard by surprise and he's like, because she hit a high note on the harmonica and he's like,
what? I know, it's great.
It's a moment.
You know what? Again, it's on Kiersi's YouTube page, and I really hope that you'll go there. Kiersi, we're running out of time, but I got to hear at least one more song from you, and play on that harp and your resonator guitar, maybe something that you wrote, and you can tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. So I will do Blood on Fire.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a song called "Blood on Fire." I wrote
Blood
this song
on Fire. Interesting.
with Michael Saletta, and I came to the right. I had the idea, and I believe I came up with the idea in the car or something. We were driving home, and I was like, you know what? It would be really cool to have a song about love, but you just use all these like fire kind of references. So there's like when sparks fly, or there's something like sparks and flames and igniting, and we wrote the song, and I love it so much. It's my mom's favorite song, actually.
This is when you're going to record, put out there?
This song is actually coming out April 23rd.
Oh, it's out there right now then, streaming everywhere.
So it's out for pre-save right now, and you can officially go download it on April 23rd.
Right, and this is June 4th, so it's out there.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, so you got that. We record in advance, folks, we do. Yeah.
And I actually am, I am premiering this song at the Hop Springs Beer Park in Murfreesboro on April 23rd.
How cool.
Yeah, I am opening up for a Misty Blues band, Gina Coleman's band, and it's going to be awesome.
Wow. Wonderful.
So, yeah.
Let's hear it. Kiersi Joli today, our guest on the Songwriter Connection podcast. You're so cool to talk to. It's so fun. Tina, Mike,
It's been great.
Mike, you got to be quiet. You talk a little too much. I mean, I don't know how to tell you this, but you know. Yeah.
Hey, he is a talker sometimes.
I'm sorry we ignored you. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad about that. How do you feel about all this? Is this like wild rain?
It's mind-blowing.
Mind blowing. I bet. Yeah. Kiersi, take us out with that song you were talking. I cannot wait to hear it. Okay.
This is Blood on Fire. The sun beat down on you walking through that door. It sent chills running through my spine, never felt that before. Standing there in your pearl snap shirt and your faded Levi's, something just came over me and I had to go say hi. You changed my life, it won't ever be the same. The sight of you heats my skin, it ain't ever coming down again. These flames keep growing higher and higher. Your touch burns me to the core, our sparks ignite across the floor. Your love sets my blood on fire. Every day that I spend with you makes me fall a little deeper. And every single kiss from your lips still gives me a fever. Even after all these years I still feel this way. The sight of you heats my skin, it ain't ever coming down again. These flames keep growing higher and higher. Your touch, it burns me to the core, our sparks ignite across the floor. Your love sets my blood on fire. These flames keep growing higher and higher. Your touch burns me to the core. Sparks ignite across the floor. Your love sets my blood on fire. The sight of you heats my skin. It ain't ever coming down again. These flames keep going higher and higher. Your touch burns me to the core. Sparks ignite across the floor. Your love sets my blood on fire. Blood on fire. Blood on fire.
Fabulous. We're in the key of Kiersi on the Songwriter Connection podcast. Kiersi Joli, it's just been just a pleasure to get to know you a little bit. I know we talked a lot. We usually we do a lot more music. But the next time you come,
Yes.
we're going to play more music and a lot less talking. How's that?
All right. Sounds good.
Man, you got a great story, though, and I wanted to hear all about it. You're in great demand, and you're doing so many cool things. And I think it's just beginning for you. It's just going to explode. You thought
Thank you.
2024 was amazing? Man, you just wait. You just wait. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Good luck on the TV tomorrow, too.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. We'll catch you next time on the Songwriter Connection podcast. And like we always say, right on WRIT.
We hope you enjoyed this intimate glimpse into the world of songwriting and found inspiration in the stories shared by our talented guests. Remember, the magic of music lies not only in the notes and chords, but in the emotions and experiences woven into every lyric. Until next time, keep listening, keep creating, and keep the melodies alive.